All right, family. I am going to try this again. So, yesterday on Wednesdays, because that's the day I go live, something was up with my audio. Sure was. So, if you're out there, just put something in the chat. And the more I play around with this, the better off I will be and that I will get. So, I go live on Wednesdays. Wednesdays at 5 Pacific, 7 Central, 8 Eastern. Today is Thursday, and in the day, I am going to try this yet again. But I really need to know if my audio is on point today, because yesterday it was a hot, blazing mess. Okay, folks. Boy, I tell you, this right here is interesting. It's very interesting. Bear with me for a moment, please. Okay. All right. So if you could type it in the chat for me if my audio is okay. Is this sounding all right? Because yesterday it was a mess. It was a hot mess actually. It was a hot mess. It really was. Um, can I don't. I'm trying to. Let me see if I can see any comments. Um, no comments. Why is this like this? Anywho, because what I'm not doing is coming back to this same segment again. If this don't get right, if this not right, we moving on. I'm just saying, I don't know. I'm traveling. For those who remember last week, I am in the midst of my travels, and I'm doing the best I can with my new setup. All right, I'm trying to find this. Okay, folks. Um, Give me 1 minute as I get my things here, my bearings. Alrighty. Looking here. Okay. I think I might be all right. All right, folks. So here's the new news about me. This is what we're doing as I get my bearings at, in the wee hours of the day for me. Okay, my loves. Here we go. So here's the new thing. I got a disclaimer. I'm going to tell you the disclaimer every week. So the information I share with you all weekly is general, educational, and informational purposes only. It's tried and true for me, but I make no guarantee that you'll get the same results. If you need supports, make sure you connect with the right folks. Alrighty then, let's move on down the road. Okay, friends, the title of this week's live is Your Personality Can Sink or Sail Ships. Yep, that's our topic today. That's what we're going to be talking about today. That's what we're going to be talking about today. Your personality can sink or sail ships. Now we're going to do the recap because that's what we do every week. We sure do. So in the past few weeks, what have we discussed? We've discussed pursuing your dreams because whatever you pursue will begin to crystallize in your life. So put on your tenacity hat and keep going. Dream killers. Dream killers show up in all different forms. Past failures, fears, your family will come and steal your dream if you let them. So my thought on that is to write the vision, make it plain, and pursue it. Vulnerability. We're all vulnerable at some point in time. Okay, we all are going to deal with that. But don't let it stop you. Okay, it could either propel you or hinder you, but don't let it hinder you. Move on. Walking in defeat. Many people are walking in defeat for one reason or another. And we need to change our mindset, get our mindset renewed. That's what we have to do in order to defeat that. And last week's topic was everyone will fail at some point. They sure will. but it's what happens or what you do if you fail. Will you let it stop you, or will you let it propel you? Um, Hopefully, you let it propel you. We're going to learn from the failure and keep it moving so that we don't repeat it again, all right? All right, my dearies. Where's the question for the night? I got the question for tonight. The question is, what's it like working with your personality type? What is it like? Is it OMG? Or is I sure hope they never leave? Now, I didn't have my share of both. But I think I've probably had more shares of what time is it? Okay. Anywho, I digress. But as I move on down the road, I gotta talk to you guys about the article. Y'all know I always talk to y'all about articles. I got articles that I read weekly. This particular article that I read, I found it in 16 Personalities titled Motivating Workplace Heroes Using Personality Types. We at the end of the year, teachers about ready to go. Kids I know are ready to go. Parents are like, oh my goodness. But this is what I found in that article. It states that self-knowledge can help gauge how you might react to other people and help avoid biases and pitfalls. One way to attain knowledge is having a hand on your own personality traits. Many events in your childhood that may not you may not even remember could really be the cause of many of our reactions and how we deal with things and how we are as people today. Didn't I talk about that a few weeks ago? And did. Sure did. There's a lot of things that happen to kids, good grief, that show up in adulthood. Oh my goodness, those little personalities. But anywho, I digress. So, personality types or traits, if you will, can cause systems to flourish or crash and burn. We all know about that one individual that, oh my goodness, when they hear it's keep me near the cross, Jesus, good night. And then we have that one where everybody loves them, everybody needs them, but we need all of these different personalities to make things work. I did post in the description a link to a free self assessment. I am not an affiliate for these people. It's a free assessment that I found very useful. It's very informative. Get into it. So hey, no one is half the battle. So knowing who's on your team and what styles they bring can be detrimental or life-saving. I'm just saying, to your organization. We need the different people to come and flourish. But if we got too much of one thing and not enough of something else, that's a problem too. Good night. And then what do they talk about? Work toxicity? Them be them personality traits. That's what it be. Good night. Woo! Anywho, I'm going to bring this thing right back to me. Yes, me. So after I did the assessment, my personality type came up as defender. Okay, it's a defender personality. I'm very supportive, which we know. I enjoy helping others and will share my knowledge, attention, and expertise with anyone who needs it. Shoot, sometimes I share it even if I think you need it, but you didn't ask. I know it. I know it. They be like, get away from here with all that. I be like, but I helped you though. Anywho, that's just the defender in me. I'm very reliable, down to a fault, very, very observant. Been that way since I was a child. I am super observant. That very thing that you didn't think I noticed, oh, I noticed it. All of it. Every inch of it. But I may not say anything about it. I'm very enthusiastic about everything. Well, not really everything, but many things I am enthusiastic about it. Hardworking, sure am. I don't just get the work done, but I take pride in that work. I sure do. I have had people say to me, girl, I think you're a little too close to this project. You so attached to it. And I mean, I let them know, shoot, if by me working this hard and this well will be great for the greater good, then I'm all about that life. Why not? Don't nobody want junk. Anywho, being good and practical. I don't just hope to help others. I roll my sleeves up and jump right in. We down a custodian. Oh, I'll help. Ain't nobody else gonna help these kids clean up this lunchroom. Oh my goodness. Can you help with Buzzy? And even though that's not my job, but I see y'all out here struggling. Yeah, I'm gonna jump in there. I'm gonna help. Sure am. No shame in my game. Now, with those things being said, I am the defender. That is just my personality trait. That is what I do. Some people love it. Some people don't know what to think about it. Some people don't care one way or another. But I'm going to help us out. I'm going to help everybody out as best I can. Now, I got to go into with a story, guys. I mean, I would not be me without giving a story. So, at one point in time in my career, I was at this school, and I had this administrator who rightfully so wanted tip top for her building. So much so, if things didn't line up with her view, she made sure you knew about it very loudly. One day I went to her to discuss steps for a kiddo, the next steps for this kid that we had in the building. I had that would prove beneficial for her and everyone working with this child. I went to her and I was talking to her, and she went on to debate me about everything. Nothing was right. She didn't see the benefit in it. It was terrible, guys. And I'm sitting here thinking, sweet peas and collard greens, when do I tell her? So I had to respectfully let her know, listen, ma'am, if we don't do something different, this kiddo she's in a constant state of crisis all the time. She's going to tear the roof off your building. We got to do something about this. So I iterated that this was not going to fare well for any of us, and I needed to implement the new strategies that required everyone that worked with this child to be on board. Everybody needed to know exactly what was going on. We needed to work like a well-oiled machine with this kiddo. And goodness gracious, guys, needless to say, the principal dug her heels in and frankly shot down any of it. She just shot it down. Any support needed, letting me know that she didn't feel it was beneficial. It was very forcefully, might I add. Yeah, I remember that day. So I ended up going on about my business, and we waited 3 weeks. Sure did. In pure misery, actually. That's what happened in those 3 weeks. And what I ended up doing was I ended up having to pivot and switch and do the thing that was going to help this kid anyway. I share that story with you because that particular administrator, her personality traits was doing more harm than good. I hate to say it like that. How many people tracking? And in the words of my friend Myron Golden, wave at me, my peeps. Anywho, I know it's not just me who's been in those situations where, good grief, the captain of the ship is getting ready to burn the ship right on down into the sea. And then we've also had those administrators where, my goodness, they almost couldn't do any wrong. And everybody could see the vision, and they were all about their staff members, and they were all about growth, and they were all about propelling you, but they seem to have come far and in between. But you often see or seem to feel like we run into more administrators that are more of the former, where it's very difficult, very, very difficult. And I've been on one extreme to the next, from very militant to domineering to very passive, where everybody's still looking like, how is this thing going to work out? But that particular administrator, her traits were stubborn and dominant. She was just very stubborn. tolerant, impatient, definitely arrogant, poor handling of emotions, and cold and ruthless. And at the end of the day, if we're here for kids, we got to do what's great for kids as best we can. It can't just be a one-person show, not working with the many kids that we work with. Okay, friends, I'm not going to belabor this, but that is my talk for today. But at the end of the day, take an inventory of your personality traits and how are you being perceived. At the end of the day, we should be sailing more ships than sinking them. This is a people business that we're in, especially if you're in education. This is a people business. I'm not saying to be a fake individual, but be aware of how are you being perceived. I had to take account for it because how I saw me wasn't necessarily how somebody else saw me. And in my mind, I'm thinking this is how this is going, but I'm not the only one out here who thought that, right? I'm not the only one who has felt like this. But in my mind, I think this is what's happening, but this is how it's being perceived. And no, I'm not saying you got to sit here and think about how is somebody always constantly viewing you, but it should be a thought. How is this going to go if I do that? How am I going to be perceived if this happens? And just like I teach my scholars, we want people to have more happy thoughts with us than not. We know people, you can't make everybody happy. We understand that as well. But all of us crave for, people to have happy thoughts with us. Yes, we do. Even if we don't admit it. Oh my goodness. Anywho, I got my call to action as normal. Share the page. It don't cost you nothing. Go ahead and share that page. And comment. I sure would like to see some comments. Guys, I feel like I'm talking. Am I talking to myself? Wave your hands at me, my peeps. I mean, put it in the chat so we can talk about that. All right, my friends. I will be back next week on Wednesday at 5 Pacific, 7 Central, 8. What is this? Eastern. Good night. Y'all see how this thing that threw me off? It's 1:44 in the afternoon. I'm on the East Coast for now. For those who don't know, I am on the East Coast. I'm doing some things right now, but I sure do appreciate y'all who do come and your comment when you do and you like. Go ahead and hit share. It don't cost you nothing. It's free. All right, my dears. Y'all be blessed.